Hey, so today I wanted to talk about how to stay in a dream once you become lucid, because one of the most common roadblocks and complaints from people when they finally have a lucid dream for the first time is they finally do it, they realize they're dreaming, and they get so excited, and they wake up immediately after they realize they're dreaming, which is very frustrating. Another problem that can happen, even if you don't wake up right afterwards, is lucid dreams can be very short if you don't take steps to retain lucidity and just clarify your thinking once you realize you're in a dream. So I'm going to talk about those things. So for those of you who have had this experience where you have a lucid dream and you wake up right afterwards, realize that can be really frustrating. I want to start off by saying that's incredibly common. You basically entered like phase one of learning this skill. You finally did it. You had a lucid dream, even if it was really short. Congratulations, and I know it's frustrating, but it's very common to wake up afterwards. And I think excitement really is a big factor. It's understandable, it's a very exciting experience, but if your emotions, any emotion gets too heightened, at a certain point you will wake up. I mean, I know dreams can be incredibly scary, but it seems like there's for example, this crescendo of emotion, and at a certain point you do just wake up, even though dreams can be very emotional, and actually your amygdala is 30% more active in REM than when you're awake. So yeah, you are having a very emotional experience, but there's still, I think, a threshold, and you can have excitement in a dream, but if it reaches a certain point, it's just going to wake you up. So that's one thing to consider, is as exciting as it can be, just try to stay calm. And what you can maybe do before achieving the lucid dream to prevent that excitement is to just maybe visualize becoming lucid without waking up. Another problem that I've kind of alluded to before is that there can be a lot of self-fulfilling prophecies in dreams. If something happens once, you can kind of fall into a trap of thinking it's going to happen every time. So if you woke up from your first lucid dream, please don't worry that it's going to happen every single time. Have faith that it's not going to happen every single time. Maybe visualize it not happening next time, and try to stay really calm. Another factor, though, for waking up right afterwards is that visual elements and sensory elements of the dream can just start to fade. I'm not sure why this happens. It's a fascinating scientific question, why realizing you're dreaming can, for some people, and especially beginners in this skill set, cause the dream to just dissolve. So a couple notes on that. If that starts to happen, there are a couple ways that you can try to engage with the dream environment and your dream body and try to just stay there instead of fading back into reality. One, again, really weird way, I don't know what the scientific neurological basis is for this, but spinning your dream body, in my experience, has helped. I've read other people describing having tried this and it worked for them. Not sure why it works, but you could try that. But I think any form of really engaging with the dream environment, so try, if visual elements are fading, try to create new ones, or try to focus on another sense. Maybe try to think about sound, maybe try to talk to a dream character and just try to build it back up. But if none of that works and you wake up, again, that's not the worst thing. You did have a lucid dream, you made a huge stride, and one other thing you could do is just to go right back to sleep. Try to use auto-suggestion, tell yourself you're about to have a lucid dream, whatever you see next will be a dream. Go back to sleep and try to have another lucid dream. And that's actually one of the most common techniques for lucid dreaming anyway. It's called awake-induced lucid dream, or wild, where you are awake and you try to go right into a dream. Typically wake up from REM, having had a dream, and there's a good chance that you can go right back into REM, especially if it's morning and you've been sleeping for several hours. So you're not in bad shape. Now, for those of you who don't have the problem of waking up right afterwards, but maybe your lucid dreams are kind of disappointingly short, you find yourself soon after in a non-lucid dream, something that I like to do, again, is to stay calm, but also to try to kind of activate the more logical facets of my brain that aren't usually super active when I'm sleeping. So once becoming lucid, instead of jumping right into something like trying to fly or do something really exciting, pause, take a breath, survey your surroundings, think about things, maybe do a little bit of mental math, or ask yourself what day it is, what time it is, things to really ground you in reality so that you don't get too sucked up in the non-reality that's happening. Remind yourself that nothing around you is real. Just try to stay really conscious throughout the dream. I've had very long lucid dreams by starting off with a solid foundation of just a little bit more than just reality testing, realizing you're dreaming, but also realizing some other things, what day it is. Do some logical thinking before you even get started engaging in anything. And the more you engage with what's going on around you, the more likely it is you're just going to get distracted and forget that you're dreaming. So I hope that's all helpful. One other thing worth mentioning, sort of on the flip side of this, I've heard people talk about what I'm about to say in the context of like nightmares and wanting to wake themselves up, sort of the opposite of wanting to stay in a dream. And I've heard people say that ways to wake yourself up include, so paradoxically, trying to go to sleep in a dream. I think what's going on has lots to do with your eyes. So remember, you're probably in REM if you're dreaming, especially if several hours have passed and it's morning. And REM is characterized by rapid eye movements. But if you close your dream eyes, or if you just stare at a very fixed point, it seems people tend to wake up from doing that. But I never recommend trying to wake up from a dream. You should stay in it. It's fun. Why would you want to wake up? But one thing to keep in mind is like not to close your dream eyes or focus too much on a fixed specific point, because that can cause you to wake up. So I hope that is all helpful for you if you are trying to lengthen your lucid dreams, trying not to wake up right after them. I hope it's encouraging. I don't want people to feel discouraged. And again, these videos are going to come out every Thursday, so I'm going to keep talking about this. If you want to keep hearing about it, you can hit subscribe. A lot of people have been saying to me they don't have a YouTube account. I don't think you need a YouTube account to subscribe. I think you just have to be signed into Gmail, FYI. So if you're signed into a Gmail account, go ahead and hit subscribe. And I wish you luck. I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you next time.